I said some things that I knew right away I couldn't take back. And the worst part was, it was happening in real time. Do you remember those two men I told you about in a previous video that we've been like brothers for almost 40 years and they've helped me through countless times of adversity? There was a night when we were young, and one of those men and I got into a particularly bad argument. And we both said some things, but I said some things that I knew right away that I would regret. And I did. Now, what if that's not really a temper problem though, but more of a pause problem? In other words, the gap there between what happens and how you react or respond is the key. Now, in this video, stick with me because I'm going to lay out a 3-part framework that has really helped me. And the best part is, it takes less than 3 seconds. Now, those of us over a certain age, 40, in the middle of our lives, come from a generation that for the most part didn't really teach emotional regulation. We were kind of taught just to stuff our emotions down and deal with it. But I'm here to tell you that reactivity is not a character flaw. It really is more of an untrained pattern. But the problem is that reacting in a situation can cost you relationships, cost you your self-respect. And if you've ever replayed a conversation over and over in your head and wished you had done it differently, then this is for you. All right, so I want to lay out the 3 proof points. Proof point number 1 is the pause, and this is critical. Now, that breath needs to just be for 1 second. It just needs to be deliberate, but it creates a gap between what you're feeling and how you're going to respond. There was a time when I was at a work conference. This was probably 10 or 15 years ago, and I was just having a really bad day, personally, professionally. We all have them, right? And I remember at the end of the day, somebody said something to me that I don't think they intended to upset me, but it just put me in a really bad place. And I remember just taking a breath. And that's the first time I really remember using this. And I can remember going to the restroom, just excusing myself from the situation. I didn't have to go to the restroom, but I went in there and collected myself, put some cold water on my face, took a breath or two, and gathered my thoughts. And then I went back out and I re-engaged the person, and it wound up being perfectly fine. But had I reacted in the moment, who knows what would have happened? That breath that you take is not a sign of weakness. It's actually the most powerful thing that you can do. All right, proof point number 2, I want you to name it. And what I mean by that is, in the moment, I want you to think, what is the emotion I'm actually feeling? Am I scared? Am I embarrassed? Am I frustrated? And what happens, what I have found, is that shifts the emotion from your gut to your mind. And it really empowers you then to figure out what it is you're actually feeling. And then you can respond from there instead of react. All right, proof point number 3 is respond with intent. And what I mean here is choosing your words instead of defaulting to the wound that you feel. This kind of goes back to visualization that we talked about in a previous video. I want you to visualize for a moment. You're having a tough co-parenting conversation, and I want you to think in your mind of 2 different scenarios. In the first one, something is said to you that upsets you, right? And you emotionally react in the moment. And in your mind, I want you to see that conflict blow up and the fallout from that. You don't talk for a few days, you're upset with each other, the kids suffer, which is not good. But in scenario 2, I want you to think and I want you to visualize yourself taking that breath and creating that gap, and see yourself receiving that wound, that information from that person that upsets you, and taking that one pause, that one breath, gathering yourself and responding and not reacting. That response does not have to be perfect by any means. It just needs to be chosen. Okay, now you have those 3 core components. Your task for this weekend is the next time you feel yourself getting upset about something or wanting to react emotionally, I want you to instead pause, take the one deliberate breath, and see how it works. Now, listen, I don't get this right all the time, but I'm getting it wrong less often. Okay, so listen, if any of this landed with you, I would love for you to subscribe. I put out content every week for people in midlife who are looking to become more resilient and to become a better version of themselves. So be sure to subscribe and follow so you know when the new content is out. Also, I'm really excited. I'm getting ready to come out with a monthly newsletter. Check out the link in the comments where you can subscribe to that. Going to actually be dropping the first one here in just about a week or two. So super excited for that. Be sure to leave me a comment also. Let me know what your thoughts are on that gap between reacting and responding. And remember, nobody is born resilient. We have to work at this every single day.